So we got some inverse power scaling kinda in this chapter, with the entire list of all the participants and what the likelihood of them actually winning the battle outright is by the Kengan Association members. Now it's best to not take this too seriously, however it is very interesting who they put where, but I'll get to that when we actually get to that particular part of the chapter. For now, we open up the chapter with one of the Kengan Association members pretty much crashing out. And the reason he's crashing out is because he made basically a bet on Kokoro and Yoshiki, the list that I talked about at the beginning of the video, about their odds of winning. You know, he thought Kokoro and Yoshiki were going to be the dark horses here, and because guessing their odds were probably going to be really low, or they were going to be ranked very low, he could have had a pretty good payout because he put 50 million yen on each of them. Not 50, sorry, 500 million yen each. So basically a billion yen total, and he has basically finished his leisure budget for the month. Now, I don't know how much that actually translates to any currency you're actually working with, whoever's listening right now, but that is a heck of a lot of money either way. But we see in the background, Nogi's talking to Sion, and Sion, he sort of envies the lower tier Kengan Association members because they are not really aware of the stakes involved in this battle royale. Nogi, you know, he's sort of coming in, talking to Sion, and he's like, yeah, don't look down on them too much, right? Because they are basically lower level members of the Kengan Association, and they're trying to have fun in this situation because, like, they literally opened up bets. They're none the wiser that if Shen Wulong wins, or really any of the worms win, the worm take over the Kengan Association. That's the deal basically, and get Ohma and Ryuki. But with that, we see Shen Wulong followed by the connector nanny Yan, and they're still walking through the forest here. Yan, he's a lot more hopeful that Shen Wulong actually has a bit more motivation behind him, and he says, hey, if this actually continues, the chances of them winning are basically guaranteed. So Yan, he's sort of aware, or at least somewhat implying, that the connector's mood definitely influences how this match actually goes. Because right now Shen Wulong is in control, so things are gonna be a lot more laid back for now. Even though he has taken, you know, Kokoro and Yoshiki seriously, you know, it's still Shen Wulong. If Shen Wulong actually joins this battle, he's going to pick up the pace. Tiger picks up the pace, basically. He's the guy who basically goes in there, gets the job done. We've literally seen this. But Yan is looking at Shen Wulong, right? And he's like, okay, if he's getting motivated, we could actually win. But almost as he's thinking that, he's like, okay. Shen Wulong is like, hey, can we actually keep that snake that's on the tree? And it's like a huge anaconda. Well, yeah, it is an anaconda or a python, one of the two. Either way, Yan sees this as a sign that Shen Wulong is back to being a goof. I don't think this is completely accurate. I think it's a more comedic effect type of thing. Shen Wulong is going to remember Yoshiki and Kokoro and is probably going to act more motivated than he normally would have. But of course, we transition to somewhere in the forest that the battle royale is happening, and it seems like there's a little bit of shelter somewhere. It's like an open shelter area, and we see Okubo arriving on the scene, and he actually sees Ohma, because Ohma, he's trying to have dinner in the area. Like, we literally see him frying fish, and Okubo is asking, like, what is he doing? Ohma, of course, tells him that he's actually frying fish right now, and Okubo is a little bit surprised that he's actually taking the time to actually do this, and Ohma is basically like, look, can't fight on an empty stomach. This is a very interesting moment here because it kind of does make sense given what we heard in the last few chapters, because we know Ohma was having a hard time eating because Yamashita literally pointed it out right before the battle royale was actually about to happen. And so now that the battle royale is completely on, it seems like Ohma has regained his nerves and he's a lot more hungrier right now, so he needs to sort that issue out. And hey, Ohma's a nice guy. He offers Okubo the exact, the fish that he's actually caught. And as they're cooking their fish, Okubo is sort of noting how Ohma is taking this a bit lightly, or at least it seems like he's taking it a bit lightly. We know that's not true. He's pretty serious and nervous about, or was nervous about this battle. But he even says, hey, why didn't he just go to where the rest of the Kengan Association members are and have them work together as a team to actually defend him and protect the coin? Ohma's like, nah, he doesn't do that because he is more of a solo fighter. So he doesn't actually want to do something that he hasn't actually prepared for, which I think is a pretty good idea. It's not like Shen Wulong is going to jump him with the help of Yan, right? Really, the only problem here is if the other worm members choose to jump him, or if, some Kengan Association or Purgatory fighters decide to actually gang up on Ohma as well, because that can happen. Ohma offers Okubo some cooked fish again. This time, Okubo takes it and he actually eats, and even says that it's actually pretty good for, the way it was made. Literally just a fire on a stick. That was the whole process, right? Like, Ohma is not like Kuroki Gensai, although this is pretty interesting because I wonder if maybe he picked up some tips from Kuroki, because he was chilling with him for quite some time. Okubo then starts saying, hey, this is actually not the time to be sitting here and enjoying the fish, and he basically shows Ohma that Kokoro and Yoshiki have been eliminated, right? Already, literally less than a minute in, 2 people are out. And you can actually tell who has been eliminated by using, of course, the Kengan Association watch, right? Whatever this device is called, or the smartwatch that they actually have. Best to call it that, actually. Ohma doesn't actually know how to navigate this thing because he didn't get the notification or even knows how to pull it up. So yeah, no one's really surprised by this. At least I'm not surprised by this. I don't know if Ohma can even write. That's how little hope I have for Ohma in terms of literacy, let alone using a smartwatch, right? Although using a smartwatch could be a bit easier than basically learning how to read and write, or how to write specifically, who knows. But once Okubo realizes that Ohma is probably not gonna get anywhere into learning this, especially in like a few hours, he basically gives up on trying to teach him how to do this, and he basically shows him what is estimated to be everyone's shot at winning. This is probably done by Kengan Association members and who they're willing to actually bet on here. And this is a very surprising list because, unsurprisingly, of course, Shen Wulong is at the top. Duh. But what's very interesting is literally Agito's number 2. Now, I think this is very interesting because we can kind of see why. Agito, the last time he came out there, he beat 2 S-tier fighters, legendary champion fighters, in like one day. So he beat Long, he beat Gao Lang, basically back to back, right? That will leave an impact on the Kengan Association and also increases his own stocks, because hey, a nice way to think of this entire list is the actual character stocks here. What's interesting is number 2 is Gao Lang. Again, I'm guessing it's that Real Champion's recent memory performance. He performed pretty well there, the man that literally beat Jorada. I'm not gonna go through every single one because I think right after that is literally Kuroki and Ohma, and then it's Long. I'll save a whole chunk of them for later on, but interesting is that Ryan is pretty low down, as well as Yan. Ryan is like 18, Yan is like 21, and Gilbert is like 51. So again, not an accurate power scaling list. In fact, Okubo later on calls this basically a popularity bowl or something like that, because Okubo is literally 10. So like my man is literally in the top 10 in terms of stocks. But yeah, Ohma is a bit surprised that they're actually betting over this. Okubo's like, it's the Kengan Association, bro. These are business people and this is a business opportunity. But as they were actually taking a look at that, they noticed that there's actually a signal coming towards them because they're looking at the GPS on their smartwatches. That means that literally someone is with them and in close proximity. And with that, the person actually speaks up because he's like, yeah, damn, these smartwatches really make it hard for you to actually sneak up on people, right? Ohma and Okubo sort of get up frantically, right? And I was like, oh, this is actually kind of hype, the way they introduced this guy, because it's almost like Ohma and Okubo did not notice that he was there. So he seems like he's pretty good at stealth, which makes it a shame that, well, basically he can't use it here. And he actually sees Ohma and he's kind of happy that it's actually Ohma. In fact, he calls it his lucky day, which, you know, not really spoiler about what's about to happen to this guy, but not really his lucky day. Basically, he starts talking, you know, himself up. He's like, hey, this match is in the bag. You know, I found this man early who actually has the coin. And Okubo, he sort of tries to say that he has the coin. Now, we know Ohma has the coin, but of course, it's beneficial for them to not know. But Ohma's like, hey, wait a minute. Because he knows Okubo, by saying this, the worm member will straight up attack him. Which, by the way, he's not a direct worm subordinate, because we see the worm tattoo on his face and it's not the normal worm tattoo. Also, he seems to have a pretty good character design as well. Never mentioned that, even though he reveals his face, right? I think he has a pretty good design, but he has no name. Like, he literally has no name. My guess is that either maybe Sandrovich didn't put the effort into giving him a name, but I don't think that's the case. I think he might be a clone. That's the reason he doesn't have a name. But either way, you have Ohma stepping up. He's like, I haven't actually fought in a really long time. Six is like, nah fam, I'm actually taking both of y'all out. And with that, we get a little bit of information of the exact composite of the worm team here. So I'm guessing it's excluding Fuzan, but it might actually include him. Yan brought like 9 people with him. 5 of them are direct subordinates. 3 of them are senior combatants, so the cream of the crop of the senior combatants. And then you got like 1 junior combatant there. Actually, I'm gonna confirm right now, it is excluding Fuzan. And then he got 3 guests as well. So that includes Nicholas. This increases the likelihood that Dodo and Chopstick Johnny are not members of the worm and are the 2 guests that Yan came. Either way, 6 is a senior combatant and his skills are literally said to be on par with the direct subordinates. And that's a pretty big deal, because 6, you could say he has skills comparable to that of Naiden. We have Naiden as, like, I would say the standard for what a direct subordinate's power is supposed to be. But yeah, he stands up at this point looking at Shen Wulong and he's like, he actually doesn't give a damn, even if he is technically the clone of the connector, you know, no mercy, no exception. This is kind of a slight admission that, well, we kind of already knew this. The worms sort of value Ohma and Ryuki and they are supposed to be treated with at least a bit more care. So he's kind of going out of his way to tell Ohma, like, look, I'm gonna lay these hands on you, no mercy. And Ohma's like, bro, you're out of your league here, bro. Like, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Like, you're not even gonna be a warm-up to me. I'm gonna be cold after this. And we see the senior combatant, you know, he's getting a little bit pissed. You know, he's like, oh, really? You're gonna say that? You're daring me. And at this point, we see Ohma just, you know, he's aura farming at this point, because we see, of course, a manifestation of tension that is basically coming upon 6 at this point. And at this point, you know, he's saying it like in a deep voice, like, how come the air is like growing cold, right? Like, his body is telling him nah, right? Like, we've seen this quite a few times, particularly with the connector, in the sense that, you know, you are at a certain level of power where your opponent can still tell you're kind of a danger to them. And Okubo's like, damn, he really is giving some intimidating vibes. So Okubo can tell the exact same thing, and he even knows to how he's not even like doing much at this moment. The tension is just there. He's not really trying to hype himself up or much of anything, right? He's not like trying to intimidate him here. It's just the way Ohma is right now. Okubo is like, damn, he really has grown that much stronger, you know. Again, let's reference the connector here. The connector when he was talking to Zaiji, when he got a little bit agitated or annoyed at Zaiji for not responding to him, and Zaiji felt like he was getting cut into a million pieces. It's that type of deal that's happening here. At least that's what I think. And 6, you know, he doesn't bitch out right from this very moment. He's like, you know what? It really doesn't matter. Sure, you got Aura, but Aura can't kill me, right? And so he just goes in, charges straight at Ohma. Obviously, he tries to go at him with a straight right punch to Ohma's chest or core, right? And it's almost like Ohma is phasing through his attack, right? It seems like it had hit him when really it hadn't. And you see 6 sort of take note to that. He's like, he doesn't even know if he hit him or not. And he notes that, yeah, this is just like the connector. You know, the principles are at play here. And Ohma just smacks him with a straight left punch straight to his face. Of course, 6 is wheezing from that attack, which gets a follow-up with a straight right punch to 6's core. Again, impactful punches, and you can see it. Like, my man is getting absolutely destroyed, and it's not like the punch goes and he flies away. No, it's like he's digging into him as well. It's like that type of attack. And then 6 just flies away, blasting off again. And we're at the end of the chapter at this point, and almost like, get lost, bro. Like, it is what it is, right? You're no match. It is what it is. And here's the thing. I think Ohma, he probably got this in the bag, but I see people writing off 6 already. Like, 6 is, for some reason, out of the battle. He isn't out of the battle. He still probably has his smartwatch intact. Unless it got destroyed during Ohma's attack, this man is still a player. Like, unless Ohma knocks him out so much that he just sleeps for like 12 hours, 10 hours straight, this man is in the game. This isn't a normal Kengan match where you knock the guy out and that's it. No, not at all. So I would caution anyone thinking that 6 is, you know, done at this point. What's also interesting is that, you know, talking about the chapter, it seems like there's a radius the smartwatches can actually, you know, see on the GPS for the participants and the coin. And, you know, there could be a strategy where someone comes in as a distraction because they're gonna see him no matter what, and while they're focused on him, someone else comes. You know, there could be that type of strat going on. I think it would be pretty smart, depending on if there's a maximum radius you can see something on the smartwatch. But yeah, that was it. That's the whole review. Overall, I liked it. The art is looking pretty stellar in this chapter, and hopefully it becomes a consistent thing with this arc. And yeah, don't forget to like and sub, and until next time, take it easy.